Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. We're back with the Ted Show. You know how much I love our musical guests. And today we've been trying to get this young man on the show for a while. Roger Dale's here with us. We're going to talk about from NC to DC to Nashville, talk about his journey. And of course, he's going to perform live for us, which to me is always exciting. Welcome to the show, Roger. How you doing today?
Good. Thank you so much for having me, Ted. It's a privilege to be here with you.
It's a privilege to have you on. Look, you even have your own stuff. You got your own, your own bling, your own. God, I love it. See, I don't have anything like that. It looks real good. All right, so everybody loves a journey, and all artists obviously have a journey. So tell us a little bit about you and your background, and maybe how you got to where music is this is your vocation. This is what you're doing for a living.
Yeah. So a little bit about myself, background. I'm a practicing attorney full time. So making the transition to hopefully.
Who knew?
Who knew? Yeah. So I'm a practicing attorney, but way before law school and undergrad, my younger years, probably around 8 or 9, I grew up in a church family. My mom was a youth choir director and was always fascinated by music, and started playing trumpet and trombone in 5th grade, and just led to my fascination with wanting to sing. And Mama encouraged me to sing at church, and the rest is history. I pretty much sang all throughout my youth, my teen years. I did local theater with Studio One. That really was the catapult to get me on stage and getting that performance bug. And so ever since then, I really love performing, but around 21, 22, kind of buckled down with my academics. And I've always loved advocacy work. And I went to school for civil rights and constitutional law, and ended up doing employment discrimination, fighting for those that have been discriminated against. And I've loved it so much, but in the past 2 years, it's kind of like an epiphany hit me, and I started getting vocal lessons, started writing music my own lyrics for the first time in my life, and
wow.
Just found a passion. And I've been writing pretty much ever since then, and I try to write every day, and if I don't, I write a verse or two. And just to keep myself inspired, and as I progress along and continue to get to where I want to go, and that's been in Nashville full time and making music full time for folks.
I love that there's such a split there, because normally when somebody comes on, they've had music their whole time. They don't deviate from that path. But you have law, which to me is you have different brains going on here, the creative side. My son is actually going to law school for constitutional law.
Wow.
So it's fascinating to me that you have that. The advocacy, obviously, that's where your heart is. Yeah. So there is some creativity there, I get. So do you balance between the two, or have you given up law completely, or what's the balance like in your life?
Yeah, no, I will never give up law because I'm so passionate about civil rights law and all that it entails, that I'll never walk away from it. Even when I become a full-time musician, I'm still going to be involved some way, somehow, whether it be a nonprofit. Hopefully I'll teach law one day as an adjunct professor. But I do find a balance because unfortunately, because of COVID, we've been stuck inside, which has kind of been my saving grace, because it allows me free time when I need to, step away and let my brain kind of relax a bit from law. I'll pick up my songwriting book and write a bit, or I'll just kind of turn on music and sing for like 30 minutes, to keep my chops warmed up, ready to go, and then he had to drop a dime. And yeah, just, trying to not overwhelm myself with both, because law in itself is very overwhelming. It's a very stressful profession, but my biggest tool is time management, really. Allocating time for specific things related to my music after work, working out, doing yoga, keeping my brain and my mind right, and my physical fitness.
That's good.
Yeah,
I think you have to have that. You have to have some kind of self-care in there, especially when you have really two different worlds going on at once.
Yeah.
I understand from hearing you the NC part. So where does DC come in?
So I grew up in North Carolina. I went to undergrad at North Carolina State University, and I went to North Carolina Central University School of Law. And my second year in law school, I had the opportunity to come to DC as part of a program. It was Washington Internships for Native American Students, WINS, we called it. And it was after my first year of law school, when I interned with USDA in their legal department. And they offered me a job, really. And came back after law school, took the Maryland bar, weighed in the DC bar eventually. And I've worked for, I worked for USDA, Department of State, Department of Defense, and a private firm since I've been practicing. And but now I'm ready to, go out and get on the stage and perform.
Yeah. So what's that like? You were talking about writing your own music.
Yeah.
Where do you get the inspiration from that? I know a lot of people probably ask you that, but I'm always fascinated by the process. Is it experiences you've had, or do you watch a Hallmark movie on TV and you go, okay, that moved me, I have a song about that? Where does it all come from?
Well, mine honestly comes from personal observations. I like people watching a whole lot. I have a wicked memory. I can't forget anybody, and so sometimes I'll sit down to write, and I'll remember someone, a story maybe in passing on the metro, talking to someone, because I never meet a stranger. I talk to everybody. So and yeah, I pull on that as inspiration, and sometimes working in the area of law that I work in at civil rights, I sometimes like to speak from a perspective of someone that has went through heartache and hardships to bring inspiration through song. So, and I have a lot of songs I'm going to be showcasing next year for sure, but that's what it is, and bringing social awareness, social justice issues to the forefront and bringing awareness to them through song is another thing that I love doing as well. So does
since the music came first, did performing and be able to sing in church and all of that, did it help your performance on the courtroom floor? Because that's basically a performance floor too.
Oh, absolutely. Musical theater was one of the biggest blessings in my life way before I realized it, because it's very intimidating walking into court, or, even walking into depositions. They can be intimidating. But yeah, for me, being an actor, and I did musical theater, man, for about 6 years. And I was like pretty much every other month involved in a show. So I was always on stage, and that's kind of what the courtroom feels like. It really does play out as such if you really sit back and watch it. And as long as
lots of theatrics in the courtroom.
Yeah,
I would imagine in the area of law that you practice, that definitely has to me, lots of emotion, lots of raw emotion, lots of built up frustration, lots of things, because as an advocate, you're really going against a lot of the grain sometimes. So I would imagine that it's definitely good to have both sides of it. That must give you, I would imagine the courtroom also, I mean, we're talking about ultimate people watching. Even though you're in it, I would imagine it's got to be a place where you can see a whole bunch of characters.
Oh, it's very fascinating. Honestly, I jokingly, I'm not a litigator now because I'm a policy attorney. So I write a lot of congressional reports and things like that. But when I was litigating, I would just sit there some days and wait for my case to be called. And I would just be baffled. And I'm like, you really thought you were going to get away with this craziness?
Yeah.
Okay, this is cool.
So what's Nashville? Is that the next step? That's where you want? So tell me what the plan is, because a lot of, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, the pandemic obviously made everybody kind of pivot. And as an artist, you had to pivot too, because there's no performance opportunities. Mm-hmm. But Nashville seems to be coming back. I'm having more and more guests, more and more artists that are either moving out there or really establishing themselves out in Nashville.
Yeah, so that is definitely my goal, my 2021 goal, because I needed 2020 to be my foundation, which it has, because when COVID hit, I kind of was taken aback, because I had gigs that were lined up that just fell through. And I'm sitting here with all this music, anticipating to drop, but nowhere to perform it. And I just started my own thing in May. It was called Saturday Singing Sessions with Roger. And every Saturday for 30 minutes, I would do my favorite covers. I would take requests throughout the week and, make it more interactive. And so it's given me some following, and I'm ready to go to Nashville because I have the music to put out down there, and I'm ready to jam out, man. I want to get on stage and dance and interact with the crowd.
The energy, though, that's what I love. I mean, I think it's one thing to have your passion, which obviously advocacy is one of your passions, but the performance side of things is really it's a big deal for you. And I know as an artist, especially being able to perform your own songs. I mean, what's it like on the stage when you see people's reactions? Even when you were doing, you had to do stuff on social media. What was it like to get the comments and the reactions? Does that help feed your passion?
Yeah, it definitely does. It's very gratifying to me because I had not been involved in music in well over 12 years probably. So to make it have new music that I'm making and people responding and liking it and finding connections and finding parallels to their lives, it's beautiful because that's what fascinates me with music. That's why I always gravitate to great artists and great songs. And to be in the fold now, it truly is mind blowing. I say that probably every day. And I'm like, this is crazy, man, that I have music out and people are like, man, I love Carolina. That's my favorite song. And I'm like, what?
Well, it's so good when you have that kind of response because it would be real bad if nobody said anything.
Yeah, some type of feedback, so that's what I have close friends that are musicians, and some of my best friends were musical theater. They're thespians like me, and they'll tell me, I'll send tracks to them before I even try to start working on them. They're like, I would probably work on that a little different. Yeah, so I appreciate feedback, constructive feedback. I love people liking what I'm putting out. It's just really gratifying to get feedback from someone that cares about my growth as an artist, and they truly are invested. And so I'm blessed to have family and friends in my corner at this time with this whole journey. It's pretty awesome.
It's a blessing. So tell me about the collab. Do you collaborate at all when you write, or you write everything on your own?
I do. I want to collaborate more. One of my closest friends, Adam Hill, he also is a songwriter. So he and I, we've hashed it out a few times. Some of the singles that are out right now, he helped co-write. He wrote one of them. And I recently started reaching out to other artists, not just country artists, just because, I'm country soul. So I like to do a run here and there. I just love soul music and blues. And so I've been reaching out to artists across the line, going to other, genres to give myself some growth in other parts. And so kind of to connect to other artists that are not just in country, because I think that's what makes the field more diverse. As we're noticing in Nashville, it's growing and it's beautiful. There's something for everybody in Nashville right now with country music.
It's true. And I think the collaboration is so cool because that's where you hone your craft there. You kind of fine tune and you grow. I mean, if you're just all in your own music all the time, I mean, I know that there are artists that do that, but it feels like the more and more artists that I talk to, the collaborative spirit and the collaborative part is really helping them build up their genre, build up, like you said, expand your country soul. Like, how often do we hear that? It's really cool to see that kind of diversity come together and form amazing music. And so kudos to you. All right, speaking of music, you're going to sing for us.
That's right.
And I'm super excited. So tell us what you're going to sing and give us a little background. And then I'm going to take my face off this so nobody sees me moving around or moving to it. So tell us about it.
Yeah, so I'm going to perform Pieces. It is my second most recent single. Carolina is my most recent one. I'm saving that one for later because it's a special performance. But today, for Ted, I'm going to perform Pieces.
Right.
And it's the story about basically overcoming adversity, heartache, whenever it may have occurred to you, but it's kind of knowing that you have the strength within to overcome anything, no matter how hard it may seem. There will be a better day. And so this song, I hope, is how you relate to it and share it with family and friends.
Awesome.
This season. Okay.
All right. Roger Dale, Pieces. I like it.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna turn the volume up so you guys can get the full effect, okay? scattered here on the floor. All my dreams shattered by a slamming door. You thought you took it all when you walked away. Were those vows just lies on our wedding day? What once was whole is broken, that last goodbye unspoken. I'm left with these pieces of you and me, these fragments of what it used to be. Thinking love would never come again. I found the truth that was deep within. With you gone, now finally know what peace is. Now build my life again with just these pieces. Sweeping up the dirt you left without looking back. 'Cause you can't keep running when there's trash sitting on the track. See, all the king's horses and men couldn't fix what's wrong. But in time, this healing heart's gonna move on. 'Cause I'm whole here on my own. Now that the pain is gone, and I'm left with these pieces of you and me, these fragments of what it used to be. Thinking love will never come again. I found the truth that was deep within. With you gone, now finally know what peace is. Now build my life again with just these pieces. I'm left with these pieces of you and me, these fragments of what it used to be. Thinking love will never come again. I found the truth that was deep within. With you gone, now finally know what peace is. And I'll build my life again with just these pieces. I'll build my life again with just these pieces. All right, my friend.
I loved it. All right. So, I have to confess, I never tell people this before they perform, but I never know what I'm getting into. So I don't know if it's an American Idol audition gone wrong or if it's real talent. That was beautiful. I love the part. Really beautiful. I love, and people don't understand how difficult, no matter what kind of performer you are, to just go at it raw like that. And honestly, to be honest, because of the way that the internet works, you almost sounded a cappella.
Wow.
Because we couldn't hear the music in the back, so your pitch was great. I'm not going to sound like Paula Abdul, but it was beautiful. I love the part where you said, "I finally know what peace is."
Yeah.
Very, 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 very good. I loved that. Was that based on experience of yours?
Partly, yeah, like over my lifetime, and also my co-writer, my friend Adam, we wrote that song on a Saturday evening. We would, have writing sessions, but kind of started off almost a therapeutic session where we were like, man, bad relationships, huh? And from that, it was like, let's write a song about it. And we like songwriting challenges, and I said, let's do a song that's just one word. And I said, do you know when you love somebody and you break up, it could be your first love or your most recent one, you feel shattered, like you're broken. You're never going to come back together. And I said, you fall to pieces, and pieces was the extraction. Perfect. There you go, my friends, is the song we wrote for you.
I loved it. All right. So tell us how they find your music. I have the website going across the bottom, but tell them where else they can find you, how they can get in touch with you, how they can get some swag like a Roger Dale hoodie. Tell them the best way to get to you.
Yeah, the best way is to check out my website, rogerdaleofficial.com. But Follow me on Instagram. I'm very interactive, very random. I do a lot of acapella snippets. I perform a lot. And then I'm getting acclimated to TikTok. You can find me on there too. Definitely on Facebook. I'm very interactive on Facebook as well. Twitter, not so much, but that's a goal for 2021. So you can find me on social media for sure somewhere.
It was awesome, Roger. Thank you. Well worth the wait. Thanks for your patience with me. RogerDaleOfficial.com. Reach out to him. Get his music. Support our artists. Look, it's been a crazy year for everyone, but our artists especially. No venues to perform in for so much of it, and they had to pivot. So let's help them pivot. You were awesome, Roger. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Really enjoyed it.
All right, brother. We'll be back, guys. See you soon. Bye, everybody.